Oh.
There we go. So, hi.
Hi, we're doing the
Do you-
thing.
we're doing the thing for the humans. Um,
Yep.
so do you want to just, say a little bit about, your name, where you are, what you'd like to say right away, like basic intro?
Sure. Um, Faith Catie Beaulieu. I go by Catie and sometimes now Faith. It's complicated. Pronouns I'm using lately are they, them. Sometimes she, her. She, her still feels okay. I'm in Asheville, North Carolina in the United States, and currently in my apartment where I've been for the last 3 weeks.
Okay. Wow, this is like a great time to be able to get people to sit down and talk. Honestly, it's working out well so far. So the first question that we actually have on our exciting list of questions is, who are you as a person? Something that you might want to say maybe about your passions, your qualities, your interests. Like, who are you?
Qualities, interests, that's so many different things. Who am I as a person? I'm very passionate about certain things, usually for a certain length of time, and then I go into something else until I pick up passion again. Currently, those things are a lot of social justice stuff in Asheville. I run a nonprofit. It's called The Therapist Like Me for mainly people of color and also minority identified folks. And currently, we just got a grant for providing CEs. So we're going to have minority identified therapists provide trainings about the minority issues versus like going to a straight white cis dude's presentation on working with Black people, because that's just not interesting. And interests, oh, I'm in private practice. I forgot about that. I'm trying to do telehealth. I hate it. Thank you for that article, by the way. Much needed. And then I'm trying to like entertain myself, and I do that like reading. I watch Netflix. I sometimes play with puppets, and I basically, yeah, I'm very random.
That sounds like fun. Okay. Okay. Are there any qualities, any particular qualities about yourself?
Qualities about myself. Like, can you give me an example?
I don't know. I ask people about their passions. I usually assume that they're passionate about something. So I don't know. Other qualities, I really don't know. I couldn't put an example. Like, I don't know, quirky, really high energy, really introverted, really, I don't know.
Okay, like
How would you
personality
describe
traits.
yourself?
Okay. Sometimes I'm really high energy and sometimes I'm not. I'm definitely quirky. I like it. Asheville's theme is keep Asheville weird. I landed in the right place. We have it on t-shirts. I haven't gotten one yet. Let's see. I like puns, especially really bad ones.
Okay.
So I am, yeah, I'm still quirky. Yeah, that's it. I'm mainly quirky.
Okay. Awesome. So another question is, who would you say has had the most impact on you as a human being, on who you are? Another person who has influenced you or had a big impact on you?
Another person who's had a big impact. Okay. Like a person that I've met.
Could be.
Okay.
People who are in your life or figures, either way.
Okay. I'm like so blanking. I'm thinking maybe it's so cliche, but like my first thought was the Dalai Lama, and I was just like, come on, come up with a better answer than that. But I have not met the Dalai Lama. I want to, but I think I don't even know.
Okay, you can skip it. You can come back to it if you want, or not.
Yeah, skip it.
Okay, next one. Um, what event or circumstance would you say has shaped you in your life?
Oh my gosh, what event? It's just the one.
Or circumstance. It can be like a series of events or something more complex.
Okay. Sorry about that. Oh my gosh, there's so many. We should have done this in the morning when I had coffee and a brain. How about I would say, well, I'll just go with birth, you know. I was born in the Philippines, and then I am told that my mother put me up for adoption. Don't know who the father is or was. And so I was in an orphanage for a stint of time, and then was adopted. And I would say that's a pretty big circumstance.
Yeah, that kind of shapes a lot of things about who you are. Do you
Yes.
want to say a bit about how it's shaped you?
Oh, how that shaped me. So many different ways. So many different ways. I'm trying to like I feel like I'm 38, and so prior to being the age that I am now, I kind of pushed it away, like I don't really need to know anything about that. And I would say now it's like coming into an identity that is different than I've known, because I'm doing a lot of research. Like I recently, I think it was last year, I met a cousin through Ancestry.
Oh,
I was supposed to go to the Philippines next week for the first time,
oh,
but COVID happened.
I was hoping that was like further down the timeline. That was next week,
Yeah,
huh?
no. Yeah, that was
Oh.
next week. Yeah. So that was disappointing. But I had like arrangements to like meet with an orphanage. And apparently the person whose name I can't think of, who helps run the orphanage, was like, I remember holding you as a baby. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. So I would
Wow.
have loved to, or I still can connect with her, and learn more about my, I guess, circumstance.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Interesting. Um, well, so that's kind of a bit about you becoming you. So then how did
Mhm.
you come into Gestalt?
How did I come into Gestalt? Okay, so grad school happened, and I was taking all these classes, and it was a very supportive environment. And that's kind of it. And that could be enough. That was enough for a lot of people, but I was like, oh, this person centered stuff. And like it all made sense to me. But there was nothing that I was just like, yes. And I remember it was like during the Gloria videos. Which I do not do that kind of stuff, by the way. But it was during the Gloria videos where everybody after Trump, after Fritz Pearls, did his uh, demonstration with Gloria, everybody was saying like how awful he was, what a bully he was, what like all of this stuff. And then I remember the teacher who was very like stereotypically like love and like just she was a very compassionate person. Was like, does anybody think anything differently? And like inside I was like, oh my God, that's the coolest thing. And so I was drawn to it. And at the time I was really drawn to the empty chair. And I went to a Gestalt marathon, I think at the Southeast conference. It was some kind of conference. And I was like, yes, this is finally my modality.
Yeah. Okay. And so what are your favorite things once you got into it? Like, what is it that you stayed with or went further into in Gestalt?
What did I stay with? Well, I trained at the Appalachian Gestalt Therapy Institute, and really just met my people there. They're still like, or some of them are still like, I consider them family. You met one of them, Anne, yes. In Mexico. Hi, yeah. Love her. But yeah, just a way of being that's really authentic and compassionate, curious. Yeah, it's really easy to stay with when you have those things.
Mm-hmm. And so what else do you bring in to your work as a Gestaltist? Like, there's all of the Gestalt theory, all of the principles, like you say, the compassion, and what else is your particular take? Like, what makes what you do yours?
What makes what I do mine? I think I understand the question. I would say, at least in Asheville, I don't know how this is in other places, I share a lot of identity pieces. And so, or at least like advertising, the relationship, it depends on what's happening. But I would say I embody a lot of that, and I bring a lot of that into the session, even if it's not directly spoken about. I don't know, that's the best I can answer.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, like you talk about working with minority therapists and minority clients, like you can never not be who you are, right? Kind of goes with you everywhere.
Yes.
And what kind of reactions have you had in the Gestalt community, being who you are and bringing what you bring?
Depends on what Gestalt community, because they're all kind of different.
I'm asking it in that general term, so you can answer differently. I mean, you're right. There are different places, you know.
Yes. Yes, in the Gestalt community. Sorry, can you ask that one more time?
I just asked sort of what reactions you get to what you bring, like by naming things that you name and focusing on the things that you focus on sometimes. What happens with that?
It's a mixed review, really. And I'm not sure I can generalize. I'm trying to. I don't think I can. I don't know how to do that. I will say, maybe... is this for AAGT, or is this for you? Like,
no, this is a personal project.
Okay. So I can speak to that. So I went to the Mexico Gestalt conference, and my experience there was wonderful. And absolutely wonderful. Just from everything, from like from the travel experience to the environment to the people. And what I really found interesting, I don't even know if this is answering your question, but what I really found interesting was when people were interpreting how, or at least how I was hearing it, if they were doing it in two languages, then it was like the second language, or the second time it was interpreted, it was just kind of like a, it was kind of like, here's the synopsis. And then I really found it super interesting when when the people would reverse it, or whatever the primary language was, of like people would engage with that first translation, and they would interrupt and ask questions, and then the second group like wouldn't. And I just thought that was such a fascinating experience.
Do you mean like when it went
Yeah.
like English to Spanish to Japanese?
Yeah, English to Spanish to Japanese, or if English and Spanish were being translated in like a dialogue, then yeah.
Okay, so those are some of the things that you notice or that you're interested in?
Yes, yeah. The process, and I think it's the process of gestalting that really fascinates me. And that was my experience there, just of the difference. Because, oh, there's a point. Because sometimes, I feel like, just using the interpretation as an example, I think that sometimes that people get lost. And I have had the experience, both of feeling like I'm in the primary language. Well, I usually am in the primary language, in the privileged position. And then also I feel like there's a lot that gets lost in like the second translation.
Yeah. Yeah. So like the different intercultural kind of levels. Yeah, I notice that a lot too sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So that's a little bit about sort of what you are interested in within Gestalt. And I noticed that a lot of people tend to have some stories, like some famous anecdotes and things. So I wonder what one of your favorite moments related to you in Gestalt would be, either you as a therapist or you in a workshop or you in a something. Like, what is one of your standout moments that you're like, oh, this is actually significant?
There's so many. Ooh. I would say probably for me, it's that in Toronto at the Toronto conference in that a year that was in 2020, I don't know, in that past.
18.
Thank you. There was, I really connected with a lot of people of color or racial and ethnic minorities at that particular Gestalt conference, and I never actually met anybody of color in Gestalt through my 4 or 5 years of training, and so I didn't have that experience. And the level of like calling out, some people say calling in, but I just think that just makes me feel icky. Calling out that happened, and like the camaraderie, I think that's the word for lack of a better word, the connection and the context we were able to make about our own experiences in Gestalt, were super affirming. And also like even outside of that and within it, it felt very like, I don't know, I can't even describe it. It was such a supportive experience, being with those people. Yeah. Oh, I need to email them. I'm thinking about them.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's funny, you know, I mean, like sometimes you don't realize that one of the most important moments of your life or your career has just happened. And it's just, you know, it's a thing. But then all of a sudden the resonance just keeps going and it stays for a while. It becomes one of those important things.
Yes, it does.
Wow. Okay, and I'm curious, aside from the fact that everybody's going to Zoom until their eyes fall out for the next few months, what do you think is going to happen with Gestalt therapy in the future? What would be your hope or your prediction, which may be two different things?
Oh, that's fun. What do I predict Gestalt therapy is going to be? I predict, I'm just throwing stuff out here. I haven't actually thought about this question, but I'm enjoying it now. You know how like, I don't know if you know this actually, you know how like an EMDR, they have those, like you can do this, or if you're one of those people whose fingers get tired, they have like a prop that's lights and it like lights up.
Oh, okay.
That you don't have to do anything with your hands because that's hard. And so
Or
I'm
there could be
predicting
therapists who are disabled who are trying to do EMDR and can't move their finger. But
yes, totally valid.
maybe that's where it came from.
Yes, I am specifically thinking of an experience with a white straight man who was complaining about doing this and he was irritating me. But yes, I did not bring in that piece. It's totally valid. I don't know where I was going.
So that happens with the EMDR, but where is Gestalt going? Are we going to have like flashy words or?
Yes, I think that we're going to have more tools and tactileness, like we were talking about before the interview, where you have a glove like that goes through the computer. And I think we're gonna bring in things like me. I've already been bringing in things like puppets, and just like somehow we got to make that like energetic contact that is not currently happening for me in telehealth anyway, or as much or as fully.
Right.
That's what I predict. So we're gonna get more creative in how we're contacting, because this screen thing is hard.
It is. It takes a lot of energy to push like all the way through here and get to you. And I don't know how much that actually reaches.
I just felt it a little bit there.
Yeah, but that's a lot of energy.
Like Gestaltists are gonna do this.
Right. But then we're gonna break
to connect.
Get really expensive.
Yes. I think I spent like a session for 20 minutes going like, am I supposed to look at the screen? Because I'm looking at you, but it doesn't feel like I'm looking at you. Should I be looking at the camera? But then I lose contact with you. And so it's just, it's a game. I love it.
But it's hard. And I've been sitting around for the past few weeks thinking that like, we're going to be the ones who are going to be hiring like the holographic reproduction technology people, so that we can have like a full model of a person and like still find some technological way to be person to person, because this is not quite enough.
That's so cool. Yeah. Yeah, we need to figure that out. Can you make that your next project?
Yeah, I'll work on that. I'll talk to Bill Gates and see what he can swing. Yeah.
Somebody.
So that's So that's somewhere that you think it might go.
Yes. Somewhere that or at least that I'm going to take it. I don't know. I need more this.
Okay. Well, so that's actually pretty much all that I have in terms of questions. Just a little bit about you and your relationship with Gestalt and your history and sort of who you are. So unless there's anything that you would really like to add.
Yes, I'm thinking of two things. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
I wasn't sure if there's like a specific time. There's like a specific time that I should be paying attention to. So two things. One is hope for Gestalt. I wanted to answer that. Is I hope that it's more inclusive. Yeah, that's really it. I hope that it's more inclusive. And I also want to go back, if I can rewind a little bit, and just say thank you for saying what you said about disabilities, because as I was saying it, that was not in my awareness. And then like I was thinking of the specific situation, I could feel myself getting like defensive of just like, that's not even where I was taking it. Like, you misunderstood. And I'm just like, okay, like white fragile lady, like is what I'm thinking, like from my experience of of having those aggressions, or racial microaggressions for me. And so I just wanted to say thank you for that. And I'm sorry to whoever may be listening who was offended by what I said, and understandably so. And that's it.
No, I think it's okay. I liked what you were saying. I got that it was an example that can either be used in a lazy way, or it can be used or come from like a creative place. And I was assuming that you were going more with like the creative, adaptive
Yes.
kind of focus.
Adaptative.
I'm inventing words. I do that too. But
Yes, I was, and was again missing a piece in that. Yes, it's fun. Okay, that's it for me. What about you? What's your experience
I'm good. My experience of what?
of this?
This is fun. This is why I wanted to interview you. I was wondering if you would bring someone else in, but if you didn't, I was like, this is fine. I really like talking to Catie, and if anyone is looking for someone who can talk about pretty much anything, I send them to you. Just because you are one of the most
Cool. What a compliment.
open and accepting, and just like, oh, cool. That's exactly the reaction that I've experienced you having to pretty much anything that can get thrown at you. Even if it's something that's like really aggressive and crappy, you're like, oh, look, I get to deal with this now. And you deal with it. And I really enjoy you. So I'm glad that we got to have this little chat.
Yay. Thanks, Heather, for picking me. I feel special.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.